Hello, Summit Health. I hope you guys have all had a great weekend and that your weekend is winding down peacefully. Um, my apologies again on getting to you guys so late. I've also had a really busy day. Just got home from the gym, which is why I'm all dressed up for you guys. Today I wanted to talk about something that I actually was going to talk about on January 1st, on that Sunday. Um, but some things came up for me, and honestly, I think the timing couldn't have been better. One, the topic we're going to talk about is when your habits start to backslide. Why that is, what to do about it, how come this doesn't happen to some people, those kinds of things. So, now that we're 3 weeks into the new year, if you're somebody who set resolutions, this will be a good way to the timing of this is probably really good where you're 3 weeks in and all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, life is starting to come back and hit you, and it's harder to keep those habits when things tend to throw you off. Another reason is I completely forgot to do my live on January 1st because something went down in my life and it required me to drop everything I was doing, habits, work, drop literally everything and just go be attentive to the person that was needing me. And so, in scenarios like that, um, it's easy to let one habit go for a little bit of time. And then it's a little bit longer. And then some of the other habits start to fall apart. Next thing you know, you are back to old ways. These habits are long gone, and it seems like it's just impossible to get them back. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I want us all to think back to a time where our health was really thriving. You were getting up on time, starting your day with a healthy source of caffeine. Your breakfast was packed with whole foods. You were hitting the gym 5 days a week with 2 active recovery days. You looked great. You felt great. And all of those things seemed very easy at the time. It wasn't a fight to get to the gym, it wasn't hard to choose healthy foods at the grocery store. It's just what you did, and it felt really good. And then something happened that made it all really difficult. You lost your job and now you can't afford a CrossFit membership anymore. So you took a little bit of a break from working out. That break turned into a longer break. And then when you got a new job, you now have to commute. And because of your commute, you can't hit the gym. And not only are you not hitting the gym, but you also don't have time to make the perfect fried egg and turkey bacon breakfast. You have to grab something on the go if you eat at all. And sure, you miss being in shape, and sometimes you miss being sprawled out on the floor covered in chalk or feeling like the embodiment of health and wellness because you made your own kale chips. But as much as you miss it, you don't do anything about it. You don't miss it enough to go back to it. Nowadays, most of your calorie intake comes from takeout, and it's usually eaten in front of a screen because you're either working or combining eating and downtime because you don't have other time to do those things. So, why is it so hard then to motivate ourselves to do something that used to be really easy? By the end of our talk today, I'm hoping that you will understand why you're struggling and how to set up your habits so that they remain intact when life inevitably throws you off course. Um, a big one for me, and one that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, is the pandemic. Um, Pre-COVID, my job was set up in a way where I could go to the gym in the middle of the day for 2.5 hours, train as much as I want, basically eat healthy or not because I was working out so much that it didn't even matter. And then the pandemic hit, the gym closed, couldn't do that. Work situation changed. I wasn't getting as many clients, so I had to pick up another job. Once the gym opened back up, I had this other job. I couldn't just go in the middle of the day anymore. And all of a sudden, things were very, very hard, and it was very hard to find a group to get back into. So, whatever your story is, where this happened and then it seems like everything fell apart. And even though that situation has resolved itself, I'm not able to get back on track and I don't know why that is. We're going to figure it out and we're going to figure out how to not let it happen again. When we look back at times when things were going really well, what a lot of us will see is that life was more or less stable and predictable. Stability and predictability are really underrated when it comes to their role in helping us maintain fitness and nutrition habits. Not only that, but when we're in the groove, we also start seeing improvements month after month. We're sleeping well, stress is low, life is good, you're seeing gains in the gym, the extra weight is coming off, or the muscle is getting packed on, and you're seeing the impact, which is really motivating. Then something happens that makes things less stable and less predictable. Like the example earlier, a change in your job, or a new baby, or a pandemic, or your gym closing, a death in the family, illness, not being able to afford eggs, or one that a lot of people experience that they don't even see as a life event is burnout. You're burnt out. You don't want to track your food anymore. You're sick of doing rowing and thrusters. The programming at your gym is just, it's hard to get excited about. Um, and you're just burned out. And that is also a life event that can lead to this. I'm guessing you either heard yours on that list or you have some sort of idea of what it is. What is the trigger that led to you taking a day off, that led into more days off, and now that's just your reality? As a result of that thing, even if it's a good thing, you've become incredibly stressed. And if you're like me, sleep is the first thing to go when you're stressed and running low on time, which makes anxiety increase, and that makes habits that used to feel really natural almost feel impossible to choose. What can make it tougher is looking at somebody who's going through the same thing or something similar and watch them not only survive but get better through it. That can also be hard. The people who went through the pandemic and got fitter, the people who have more stress, and stress, all relative, more going on, more busy, more struggles financially, and somehow they're getting better through it. They're making gains in the gym. They only eat whole foods. They have time to read. They get enough sleep. Their house is clean. But they're going through all the same stuff or more, and it just doesn't seem like it makes sense. These are the Annie Thorisdaughters of the world. They somehow perform better and come back to the CrossFit Games and podium after almost dying delivering her first child. So, what's their secret? I'm going to tell you, it's not what you think it is. It's not genetic or their outlook on life or the fact that they have more willpower than you. It is not those things. It's simply the small habits and committing to those small habits ruthlessly that make the big habits so much easier. It's easiest to explain this with examples. So there are people who commit to a bedtime routine even when one more episode of Netflix seems really enticing, or you haven't gotten a chance to peek at Instagram today, or it's super late. They have to start their routine super late because their kid didn't go to bed on time and just didn't go down very easily. So now they're an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours behind. So skipping the nighttime routine seems like the smart thing to do. You need good sleep, right? But they know the importance of quieting their mind before bed will help them get more and better sleep so that they don't spend hours awake worrying, even though they have all the same things to worry about that we do. They commit to these small habits. Another example is practicing mindful eating. Not only eating the right foods, but setting up their environment to focus on what is going into my body and how am I feeling myself. Even when they have to eat on the go, just like a lot of us do, they take a moment to be grateful for how that grape tastes and the energy that it provides. Or they have reminders set up during work to work on breathing exercises. Or when they get in the car, they take a deep breath. And it just helps to calm their mind and body down so that when stressful or exhausting situations creep in, they can get centered and they can handle it with all of their brain power. It's not like these hard things don't happen to them, they just have the tools they need to handle it. They journal. When a day has been rough, instead of sitting there letting those thoughts just stew and rotate, they create some space from their thoughts and start coming up with solutions rather than letting what I call the thought hamster just run for hours and hours and hours on the wheel without getting off. They have a realistic but positive mindset so that when things are challenging, they see opportunities to work on things like self compassion and to dig deep and see what kind of grit, like what are they made of. They see opportunities like that. Doesn't mean they're not hard, but it's a good opportunity for them to test themselves and see how much grit they really have. Those all sound like nice things, but I also understand that adding in more habits when it's hard enough to maintain the ones that you have sounds really ridiculous. The thing is, people who thrive when times are tough are the people who are doing these little things right when times are good. They don't wait until things are rough to develop these coping skills. Does a breathing exercise move the needle when you are feeling good and PRing everything? Probably not. But does a breathing exercise put you in the right mindset to get quality sleep so that you can get out of bed when it's time to go to the gym but you want to sleep in day after day and then you hit the PRs? Absolutely. That matters a lot. When we are building, what we're building when we do these little habits are, like I said, coping strategies. The Annie Thoris daughters of the world don't feel motivated every day. It's so easy to believe that. It's so easy to look at those people and say, well, they're just incredibly motivated. No, they're not. They get scared and stressed and they cry and they question if the effort is worth it. But those feelings are a lot less overwhelming because they have coping strategies. And when you use those coping strategies, the healthy habits remain intact even when we're at the end of our rope. In some ways, it's these experiences that make us stronger and make us even more like the person we want to become. But again, we can hear all of that and still feel like we are digging ourselves out of a pile of rubble. And it's like, yeah, it would be nice to set up a nighttime routine. I'm so far from even being at that point. What do I do? And when we talk about health, it's really easy to jump right into exercise and nutrition as places to start. Those are places we need to go, but what we skip over when we go directly to exercise and nutrition, we skip over the habits that actually support those habits, which are three main things. These are not going to be new information: sleep, stress management, and recovery. I have done talks on all three of these things, so I'd encourage you to go freshen up on those. My point is that if you feel like your habits are starting to backslide, it's not because you are lazy or broken or mentally weak. Instead, excuse me, you probably didn't or don't have the foundation of sleep, stress management, and recovery that you need in order to support solid nutrition and fitness habits. If you have those three completely dialed in, you'll increase your chances of maintaining your fitness and nutrition habits when things come along and shake your world up. You're not going to not experience hard things. You're not going to get around experiencing those, but you will be able to bounce back a lot faster if you have things under control, if you know how to manage stress, if you know how to get quality sleep, and you know how to allow your body to recover. You'll be able to get back into those nutrition and fitness habits a lot quicker. I'm going to leave you with some tools in the comments to help you get started. So it's easy to hear all this information and still be like, I don't know what to do with this. So I want to make sure you guys have some concrete accomplishables. They're not going to solve everything, but they will help be a step in the direction of the right mindset. And again, I'd encourage you to go back through some of the other videos we've recorded and just refresh on the basics. The first one is figuring out what is and is not in your control. Spending time complaining or fixating on things outside of your control is the easiest way to let habits slip. It's so easy. Focus your attention on what you have control over and just control the heck out of it. I heard somewhere, I can't even remember where it was, but you have control over like a 3-foot radius in the perspective of the world. You have control over just the 3 feet around you. And every time you worry about something outside of your 3 feet, you are giving up part of the 3 feet that you do have control over. So instead of worrying about all the stuff going on outside of your 3 feet, focus on your 3 feet and doing everything you can to maximize that. Focus your attention on what you have control over and control the heck out of it. I like to add some structure to this. I can't control the fact that I'm craving a brownie. It just is what it is. I can, however, control bringing brownies into my home or turning off MasterChef when there's a dessert episode going on. I don't need to make myself more miserable. When I do those two things with commitment, the craving is a lot easier to deal with. It's still going to be there. I don't have control over that, but I can choose to not make it worse. Second is the dial method, and we have talked about this before, but a lot of us fall into all or nothing thinking when it comes to our habits. You're either counting macros or you're not. We've had some discussion in the group recently about transitioning away from tracking and how it's hard to feel like you are maintaining healthy habits when you're not tracking, because how do you know? How do you know you are doing the best you can? I don't like when people say, yeah, I need to get back on the horse, whether it's nutrition or working out. Nutrition and fitness are not on or off. It's not like you're doing it or you're not doing it. I'm going to attach an infographic in the comments, and if you are the type of person who feels like I'm on the wagon, I'm off the wagon, this is a really good one for you. Everything is a spectrum. If you're in the habit right now of eating 3 meals a day at a gas station, the alternative to that is not cooking complete whole meals, fresh, organic, whatever, every day from home. The alternative is just grab a banana once in a while when you're at the gas station. Just grab something healthy and add it in. Take one little unhealthy thing out. You don't need to cook every meal at home to improve your nutrition. It's not all or nothing. Try out flexible thinking and looking at things more on a spectrum rather than an on or off switch. Third is self-compassion. This one sounds super soft. It's not. There is just so much research behind self-compassion. I'm guessing the person, if I asked you who judges you the most about you backsliding on your habits, 9 out of 10 of you would say it's you. If it's not, if it's somebody else who's judging you the most, send them my way and I will take care of it. But in most cases, you're your own biggest critic, and this is a skill that you need. To entice some of you to look into self-compassion, some of the benefits are being able to perform better, like you will do better in the gym, at work, in your relationships. You will feel less anxious, and honestly just have more satisfaction with life if you are allowing yourself to make mistakes and to have compassion. There are way more benefits than that, but I hope that's enough to at least get you curious. Fourth one, this is probably my favorite one, showcasing wins. It's not bragging. Just between you and someone you trust, or just between you and yourself, you and your coach, take a moment to look at what you're doing right. Even when it feels like you are failing miserably. You're not going to the gym, you're eating whatever you want, and it feels like life's just completely out of control. Sit down and think about what are some things I actually am doing pretty well. if nutrition's a mess and fitness is a mess, but I've been in a very good habit of staying in contact with my mom, that's a good thing. Or maybe nutrition and fitness aren't going very well, but you haven't missed one of your kids' games yet this year, and you're pretty proud of that. That's a good thing. This is where I'd recommend starting if you are having a really, really hard time getting back on track with your habits. This is where I want you to start. Take a minute to look at the wins and what you're doing well, and then just dial it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then the fifth one and the last one is to just get going. Just get going. So many people think you need to have the motivation first, that you need to be motivated and then you will take action. You don't. You don't need to be motivated to take action. And if that's your philosophy, you just will never, ever be consistent. Get in the gym just once this week, or do a workout at home. Make a vegetable or grab one from the takeout menu. Just get going a little bit at a time, and you might notice that your action is actually motivating you, not the other way around. Discipline matters so much more than motivation, and you simply cannot build discipline when you're motivated. I wish you could, but when you want to be in the gym or you want to eat healthy, it's easy to do it when you want to do it. You can't build discipline on days like that, and that's okay. You can only build it when it's hard. So use this period of low motivation to build your discipline. This is the only time you get to do it. When you're motivated, you can't build that discipline. And if after a 6-month period of disciplined commitment, if you're still never feeling motivated, that would maybe be the time to stop and ask yourself, is this really what I want? I'm doing the actions, I'm still not feeling motivated, and I haven't felt motivated. Maybe I am pursuing the wrong thing. And that's the time to kind of dial it back in and start asking some of the bigger questions. What I want you to do today is to look through all of the resources I've attached, or re-listen to the last few minutes of this talk where I listed out those 5 strategies, and then pick one and spend 5 minutes either working through that worksheet or coming up with a plan that you can execute today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until a Monday. Don't wait until February starts or until the new year. Do it now. And when tomorrow comes, spend 5 more minutes building on that strategy. And eventually, as you go brick by brick, you'll have built this incredible foundation. And then when the storm hits, you'll be ready for it. You'll have some coping strategies, and you'll be doing the little things right, so that, yeah, if you have to uproot and drop everything and go away for a week, and you're away from your gym, you just filled your fridge with food, and it's all going to go bad because you had to step away for a minute, you're going to be okay, because you know that sleep and stress management and recovery are going to stay consistent, or you're going to do the best you can. And as soon as you are able to come home or be back in your environment, those habits will be so much easier to step into because you have coping strategies and you are disciplined because you don't need to wait around to be motivated. I hope this helps. I will post, right now I'm going to post a bunch of resources in the comments, so please take a look and let me know what questions you have or where you are getting stuck with this. I know it's a very big concept, so let me know where you're getting stuck. And just get to action. Just get moving. Whatever domain it's in, just take action first and don't wait to be motivated. Have a great week, guys. I'll see you soon.